مساء الخير, and welcome to the Right to Wellbeing panel. I'm Rula Dajani. I'm the Senior Advisor and ex-Country Director of Amid East. Amid East is an American NGO focusing on education and training, thus creating opportunities and hope. It's the longest-running organization in the MENA and the GCC area with 12 country offices, including the UAE. I am privileged today to moderate this session, and I would encourage your active engagement. I believe we will still have time for questions, which can be posed in person or through the attendee hub. Today, we will hear from key experts present in the hall and virtually about innovative psychosocial support programs that was first piloted in Palestine by Norwegian Refugee Council, NRC, in 2012, and is rapidly expanding over 25 countries. As the session title indicates, the Better Learning Program, BLP, promotes well-being and future hope for underachieving students aged 6 to 15 years old and has been adapted to 16 to 24 years old most recently. We all agree that education is a fundamental right, and it is largely recognized to be instrumental in achieving sustainable development, mainly SDG 4. But whilst much attention has been given to the need to return children to the classroom during the pandemic, not enough efforts has been made to address the ever-growing mental health needs of children from conflict-affected communities. Therefore, the imperative to the right to well-being. Without further ado, let me please introduce our first panelist, Camilla Lodi, who is the Global Norwegian Refugee Council Psychosocial Support Head of the Global Better Learning Program Unit. She is an education specialist with a 20-year track record in managing large and complex social protection education programs all over the world, engaging in international fora for the provision of high-quality education, psychosocial support, namely as PSS, and social-emotional learning, SEL, to vulnerable population, including children and youth, and the broader realization of their rights in challenging environments. Camila, before I ask the question, I believe you have a very short video to play.
Yes. Good morning, good afternoon to all. I'm very happy to be in this beautiful room with a lot of books. I'm very happy to be here in a panel with all Palestinian colleagues. I've lived there for 5 years, and I'm really excited, happy to be with Mona and Zuhur here. We traveled together to Dubai. I will start, as Rula mentioned, by showing a 3-minute video diving into the drawings of children nightmares. Just to open that, and let me see if technology works, and I will.
Thank you, Camila. I mean, wow, this is a real representation to what Palestinian children face under occupation and therefore the urgent need of addressing key psychosocial support. Thanks for sharing this with us, Camila. Camila, please give us an overview of the mental health psychosocial support needs for children in displacement, the history and the impact of the NRC's signature PSS school-based intervention, the Better Learning Program, please.
Thanks, Rola. I will try to be short because I want Mona and Zuhur to be talking about their own experience. But let me just give a little bit of background on temperature. We know of well-being of children. Let me just highlight two studies that were carried out, one in the Sahel region, in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Cameroon, with 641 children, showing in May 2021 that more than 55% of the children are feeling stress. Similarly, moving to the Middle East region, when COVID started in July 2020, we asked 1,500 children, how are you? How do you feel? And of course, 1 out of 3 children replied that they're feeling stress and their level of anxiety has gone up. 88% are feeling more stress. These are children who are in displacement, refugees, who on top of all that they have lived are also in the middle of COVID-19, as all of us are. So, what is the BOP? What is the Better Learning Program? So basically, we look at it in 3 phases. And if you imagine the traffic lights, green, yellow, and red. Green is for all teachers, all classrooms, providing techniques to enhance focus and concentration in classroom where there are children who are suffering from trauma or high levels of stress. Number 2, it zooms into a smaller target group of children who have gone from being great in Arabic, in English, in science, down in the learning outcomes due to, again, stress and trauma, focusing on specific techniques to enhance study skills, executive functioning. And then number 3 is the one for children who are suffering from trauma-induced nightmares, working with counselors in schools. 5 universal principles that who works in psychosocial support know about, and these are the hopeful key principles upon which this program is based. Being able to calm down, a sense of safety and stability, providing the power to change the situation. And remember this when Zuhur will talk. Connecting with the others, connecting with the teachers, connecting with families, and re-establishing hope. We know that hope crashes down in this setting, and this is one of the elements upon which this program is based. Rula already mentioned, I will not go into the history, but basically it started in 8 UNRWA schools in Gaza. And now we are, during only the COVID period, 10 new countries have asked support to start psychosocial support. And we have reached up to 27 countries in a next year will be 10 years of implementing this program. Just a snapshot on some of the results. In Jordan, 87% of the children have improved study skills. In Palestine, we looked at 4,660 children, 91% after having implemented BOP had gone in improving their well-being. Lebanon, 3,300 children have increased hope. But it's not only for students, but also teachers have worked, and you will hear Mona speaking about this, on their own well-being. And finally, usually in all the countries where we apply this program, 2/3 of the children go down from having 4 nightmares per week to 0 nightmares after having implemented the Better Learning Free program. Now, there's a lot of words here, but just this is the one research that excites me and makes me passionate, because it links the improving well-being with the learning outcomes. In Gaza, this was carried out, we carried out a research with the University of Tromsø, and with 300 underachieving students, aged 9 to 16, we did a pre-test. We implemented the Better Learning Program too. We did a post-test, and with the same group of children, after 5 months, we again measured their improvement. And those are the factors that were used. So again, a lot of graphs focus only on the second one. Self-regulation is the capacity for children to apply techniques in order to feel better and be able to make the change. Now, if you look at the experimental blue schools, that's where Better Learning Program was implemented. If you look at the end of the intervention, it raised up, while in the control schools, where no Better Learning Program was applied, the level remained the same. After 5 months to see whether the self-regulation was still there, we carried out a post test, and you can see that it has significantly improved. Academic functioning. So there you see the graphs of the self-reported academic improved functioning. And here we also looked at the scorecards of Ministry of Education results, showing also improvement in Arabic and maths. So what does this research that will be published in January, so this shows? It shows that on certain aspects, we make a significant and lasting effect. But in places such as Gaza, for example, where we have bombardments and ongoing recurrently, the stress level, the well-being, and the future hope need further follow-up. So this shows that there is an improvement, but there is need for a constant provision of psychosocial support.
Good. Thank you so much, Camilla. As with any program, we need to hear from the beneficiaries, and they are here with us today. The teacher and the student, Mona. Mona Muhammad Ghais comes from Hebron H2 in Palestine. She has a BA certificate in social sciences from Al-Quds University, where she graduated in 2008. She's a mother of 2 children and a teacher since 12 years in the Ministry of Education school named Al-Ma'arif. Mona, can you tell us what it means to be a teacher in Hebron H2 in Palestine, and more importantly, your experience in providing psychosocial support to children in the school?
Okay. السلام عليكم. أنا جئتكم اليوم كي أعرض لكم قصتي
Today I'm here to tell you about my experience in Hebron. first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Mona. I work as a teacher and one of the first teachers who applied the program of better education. I have been working as a teacher for about 11 years in Al Ma'arif school, which is a government school. My school was selected by the NRC. It's a golden opportunity to both teachers and students to learn about how to self-regulation and also to reduce the stress and tension which is suffered by the students because we are in an area with the conflict. The area where the school is in isolated area, and also it's suffering from we have about 100 obstacles, and we have about 21 barriers and restrictions imposed by occupation forces. We have about 7,000 Palestinian citizens who are working or have to cross such barriers and checkpoints. And they are going from their homes and go back to their homes on foot, and they are suffering from consistent checks, points. And also we have students, whether they are girls and boys, they are subject to problems with the occupation troops because they were stopped by the barriers that were imposed by the occupation troops, and they make always delay when they go to the school, and this is push more stress and tension, and also this would affect their self-regulation. And also I'm going to talk about the children living in places that are not safe because of raids and attacks from the occupation forces, and also the journey trip of the students, whether to go to school or to come back from school or to go to anywhere, because they are going through gates and check points, and they are suffering from anxiety, tension, and they always have been searched from the occupation forces, the Israeli forces. And those children are suffering from many obstacles because we have checkpoints, we have barriers, and also the NRC, they were applying the program since 2016, and I am one of the first teachers who learned about the techniques of applying such a program. I feel that I can understand my emotions, I can control my anxiety and anger, and also one of the NRC members, she was following up my school, and this has an importance, so I can communicate with my colleagues and I can reduce the pressure on my children.
I also managed to convince teachers to get involved in this program, especially after I saw the positive impact it had on myself and then on my students, and how they were involved heavily in the program, which taught us a lot of learning techniques, such as relaxation exercises that ease the tension and anxiety of students and makes them feel more safe at school. Through this program, I turned this school from an unsafe place to a safe place for recovery and it was received very well by students. Also, the Norwegian Council staff met with the teachers several times. There were some training sessions, and there were follow-up sessions in school with teachers, peer support, and with the staff. And in this semester, as a teacher, I trained some teachers who couldn't attend the previous training sessions by the council. Those were the positive impacts of the program. We learned better on my school or on myself as a teacher. Among the other impacts is that after I enrolled in several sessions in this program, the second part of the program, I became the program's champion in the school, and that makes me advocate, plan, organize activities with my colleagues in order to ensure that we implement the program in a better manner, so that, as I said, I could turn the school turn it into a safe home where students feel safe away from their anxiety and worry and stress, and all these pressures which make them lose their concentration and weaken their academic attainment. We are honored in Al-Ma'arif School to be working with the Norwegian Council and its staff. Also, I play a role with the help of the program. I believe it's a very easy and flexible program. I believe in it personally, and I support this program, and I hope that it's not exclusive to our school and limited schools. I believe it should be organized in all schools in Palestine. I want to add one more comment before I end. The program made me more capable of providing guidance, emotional guidance in school, because the counselor in our school has a vision impairment, and we have more than 1,500 students in my school. So now I am taking some of the responsibilities of the counselor, and I believe that this program needs to be in all schools, whether marginalized or not. I would like to conclude by thanking the Norwegian Council, and thank you for your listening. Thank you. Thank you so much.
The motivation, can see the passionate work that you have done. So thank you so much for giving us your story. زهور, انت عمرك 16 سنة.
Zuhur, you are 16 years old. You are in Al-Ma'arif School, and you were part of this program under the supervision of the Norwegian Council. Would you like to tell us how the program changed your life? Peace be upon you. I came from one of the most holy cities. Before listening to any question, I want to tell you a story. My name is Zuhur Idris. I am 15 years old. I am a 10th grade student in Al-Ma'arif H2 school in Palestine. I deal daily with violence that we face in our city. Sometimes we are stopped by the occupation troops on the Israeli barriers. They prevent us from reaching our school on a daily basis. Also, the occupation affects my life and my education, and I have always felt that I need someone to support me at school in order to overcome my fears and to find something that helps me to see beauty in life and to be able to achieve my dreams. On one day, on my way to school, and on one barrier, occupation troops shot my cousin, who was 7 years old. Everyone was screaming, and I was terrified. And one of the female troops screamed at me and asked me to go to school and to leave the
child who was still bleeding on the street, waiting for someone to rescue him. Until now, I still feel the same fear and anxiety, and every time I reach that barrier, I want to go back home so that I don't cross it. But it's the only way for me to reach school or any other place for that matter. So I always had this question: how would I overcome this fear and my daily emotions? One day, a teacher came into our classroom and told us that she will be sharing a new program with us towards better learning, and this program should help us ease the anxiety and stress and make us feel more safe. Then I felt that I found what will make me feel better. I will be recovering from my fears, and I started learning some practices and techniques such as breathing techniques. I felt that hope was coming back to me with every inhale, and I exhaled every worry and fear I had. And when we used to sing for our country with the beginning of each session, that helped me get rid of my fears and my feeling of being alone. I became more capable of identifying my emotions, and I started to feel better. With the beginning of the sessions, I became capable to support my colleagues at the school and also at home. I worked with everyone I knew at school and at home, and now I am strong and able to realize my dream to become a surgeon. Despite everything we are facing, we will survive, and Palestine will always prevail. I carry peace from the land of peace, and peace be upon you. Thank you. Thank you. This is very inspiring.
Heard Noor and Muna as the beneficiaries of the program, and we have two more panelists to introduce to you from a donor-funder perspective. With us, I believe Gerhard is with us virtually. Is he ready? Yes? Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
So,
yes.
Gerhard, let me introduce you. Hello, Gerhard Pelfer. He's joining us from Vienna. I can see the snow behind you. He is the portfolio manager of the Education in Displacement Department, and he coordinates and manages the work of Porticus around education in displacement at the global level. Before shifting into his current position in Porticus, Gerhard also managed the programs in the Middle East and set up an education in emergencies program around the Syrian refugee crisis in Jordan and in Lebanon. Gerhard, I understand that Porticus promotes holistic and meaningful learning outcomes for displaced learners, which also encompasses well-being, as well as social and emotional learning. Can you please provide an overview of Porticus and tell us why Porticus has been funding and continues to be engaged with this program?
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction, Mona. And I'm so glad to be on this session, and it's very unfortunate that I can't be with you in person. So let me explain why we have been supporting NRC on BLP over the past 5 years or so. So Porticus is a global philanthropic organization, and within our education work, we are committed to supporting learning and child development outcomes in a holistic manner that addresses not only literacy and numeracy, but also the psychosocial well-being dimension of the child, which is also a precondition for academic learning. So within this education work, in education in emergency and education in displacement settings, we work with global partners to promote the demand and the uptake of holistic learning outcomes. But we also realize that the demand for holistic learning outcomes needs to be matched by supply. So in this case, we are talking about evidence-based models on the ground. Basically, we need to showcase that approaches which focus on holistic learning and child development outcomes can actually be implemented. particularly in adverse education and emergency settings. I came across PLP as such a potentially promising model in the Gaza Strip in 2016. And I had been living in the Gaza Strip for several years during the period of the Second Intifada early on. And what really impressed me personally in my meetings with principals, teachers, and students was how unanimously positive they were all about PLP. I know Palestinian people are very friendly and forthcoming, but they are also critical and they don't shy away from voicing their opinion. But for PLP, there was no criticism voiced, not about the approach and not about the implementer. The only demand I heard repeatedly was, we need more of that and very soon. So based on that, I thought to myself, there must be something about this better learning program of NRC. And the impressions of my personal encounters were then also beefed up with hard facts and initial evidence based on NRC's collaboration with the University of Tromsø and an external evaluation partner. Based on that, we engaged on a first pilot cooperation, which then led to a longer-lasting partnership, where we saw NRC navigating manifold challenges with strong diplomacy, with innovation, and with dedication. We saw PLP expanding from Gaza to the Syrian refugee communities in Lebanon and Jordan, and in parallel taking hold across different contexts around the globe. But it is not only the approach of PLP per se that we found promising, it was also the NRC PLP team, led by Camilla, that had two distinguishing features that were not too common for humanitarian NGOs. So one thing we saw was that NRC applies a very strong learning mindset. So research and evaluation basically are not just considered as an add-on to PLP, but as an integral part of developing, of contextualizing, and of improving PLP. I encountered a commitment towards the humanitarian development nexus also. NRC has been committed to embedding PLP within relevant national and international systems, such as governmental education systems and UNRWA. And the focus has thus not been on isolated implementation as a humanitarian actor, but really on sustainability. And I strongly believe this is also the future of humanitarian work based on the Global Compact. I would like to close by saying that as Porticus, we see PLP as a very strong evidence-based approach to holistic learning and child development in contexts of extreme adversity. And we commend NRC on its bold step of bringing PLP to global scale within NRC's education strategy. So for us, this has also been a great learning journey to see this model, which has started to being incubated in Palestine, and then to see it spreading to other places with similar needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerhard. Much appreciated. Our last guest, Nasser Faqih, also from a perspective of a funder, donor, education cannot wait. I mean, from its name, education cannot wait, gives you the urgency of the kind of programs that you do. So Nasser is the Chief of Partnerships at Education Cannot Wait, and is responsible for advocacy and mobilizing resources for the Global Fund. You also, Nasser, manage the support to Palestine, Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Lebanon. And your organization funds joint education programming in well over 40 crisis-affected countries across the globe. Now, we understand that Education Cannot Wait is a unique fund, in that it recognizes mental health psychosocial support to be a vital part of quality education programming, and has made a commitment that each one of its country investments should include school-based MHPSS, if I may give the acronym. And that's why Education Cannot Wait identified NRC's BLP program as a standout best practice school-based intervention. Please give us a snapshot of Education Cannot Wait and tell us in particular, why are you supporting the scale-up of BLP?
Thank you very much, Rula. Thank you, everyone. I think ECW as a fund dedicated for education in emergency and protracted crisis, we recognize that education of the children furthest left behind and furthest affected in situations of conflict and violence and displacement need more than numeracy and literacy. We're dealing with a group of youth and children who have lost many of the important factors that contribute to quality learning. And I think from that perspective, ECW prioritizes mental health, but also protection, as well as nutrition and wash and many of the other elements that students in such situations lack. I think we finance programs like this because of what you've heard from Zuhur. I mean, because of what Zuhur is experienced, and because of what Muna does, and because of what Camilla is scientifically, with evidence-based, is modeling on the ground. That's why we're supporting programs like this. It is very important. It's very important for ECW to be able to support public goods, because we consider the better learning program to be a public good. Yes, it has been piloted and modeled in a place like Palestine, but we believe that this is a public good, a global public good that can be scaled up and can be also integrated in many of the programs we're doing in the different countries. So we salute Porticus for the work they're doing in supporting this. Porticus, by the way, supports also ECW. So they are also a donor to ECW and supports in modeling this program for NRC. I want to also stress a point. Listening to Zuhur, I remember what Imtithal has said, the poet, during the opening session for the Rewired. She said that these children we work with and these youth we work with have a responsibility of breaking through challenges that normal children maybe don't have to face. They have a responsibility of rebuilding better, of recovering from crisis positively. Getting and earning these skills at such an early stage to be able to deal with crisis just makes them these distinct people one day who can positively approach their challenges and have that extra power to push through. So thank you for NRC for what they do, and thanks also for Dubai Cares for highlighting and for stressing this priority in the Rewired, because that's part of rewiring how we approach education in emergency. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Nasser. I mean, this is a key aspect of how we rewire education by really looking at the issues at heart. We have 5 minutes left, and before I give it for the last word, I want to make sure that if we have any questions in the audience, we can entertain that. We have mics around. Any questions before I go to the last question to Camila, or final words from our, Zuhur and Muna?
Maybe I'll just finish with 2 words, and we go back to the title of why the right to well-being. In NRC, we have committed in the next global education strategy that psychosocial support will be a mandatory component of any education program that NRC is applying across the globe. It's a big commitment. And in order to achieve this commitment, we have developed a Right to Wellbeing 2024 project with a budget of 5.5 million euros, built on awareness, access, and quality pillars. Thanks to all the donors, Luxembourg, Porticus, Education Cannot Wait, that have been supporting this regional project that now is going global. And the big thanks goes really to this trip we did together, and how extremely incredible it has been to travel with Mona and Zuhur directly from Hebron for the first time out to Dubai, And for whoever is interested to know more, these are our contacts and videos, and there's a lot more, but I leave the floor, Rula, for maybe a couple of questions.
Thank you, Camila. I mean, for Zuhur and Mona, this is their first time out of Palestine, but they did not forget to bring with them small gifts that you will find at one of the tables, and you can take, you can take on the way out. However, I would like to open it up again for Mona and Zuhur to say any lasting words they have to say. Mona, حابة تحكي إشي؟
طبعا أنا بختم.
I would like to conclude that we as Palestinians, despite everything, despite the suffering, we will always be strong, and we are reaching out for the stars, and we will succeed because success comes always from suffering. Despite all the suffering, we have a lot of success stories, and at the end, as a teacher from Palestine, I carry peace from Palestine, from every child, from every student, from every person living in Palestine. I come in peace, and thank you all for your attendance and listening. Thank you so much.
The last word for you, Zuhur, is Warda in Arabic. So Warda, Zuhur, تفضلي. Say a nice word لجمهورك اللي الحمد لله ما شاء الله يعني.
Zuhur means flowers, and she will give us her final word today. Hi again. I want to say that we children and young students, we suffer, but we are still dedicated to education and in order to reach for more successes. Thank you, Zuhur.
Any final remarks? Please go ahead. Please say who you are and to whom you would like to address your question.
My name is Nafisat.
This is a mic, please. Can you? Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Nafisat. I work as a learning support assistant here in Dubai. It was lovely listening to the session, and I love the kind of resilience that people from Palestine shows. It's always very inspiring. I just have a question to Mona and Zuhur. As people from Palestine, what is one message that you want to put across to the young people out there? What according to you is the voice of Palestine? How would you want to send your message across to the young people out there?
سؤالها كان إنه شو هي الرسالة الوحدة اللي أنت.
So what's the one message that you, Mona or Zuhul, want the whole world to hear from Palestine? The message that we want to convey, we want everyone to support us. We want everyone to learn about our cause, and we need support. We need, because our dedication and commitment and the support from everyone will make us, keep us resilient, and will help us reach the success and the goals we want to realize. Zuhur, one word. I have the exact same message. I have the same idea. We need your support in order to reach our goals and dreams.
Everyone for attending our session today. I hope you were able to see the importance of this program. Thank you so much. And thank you to our dear panelists, and I hope Zuhur and Mona, you go back safely to Palestine, and sends our regards to all our beautiful people there. Thank you, Camila. Thank you, Nasser. And thank you, Gerhard.
Thank you for all.
Thank you. All the best.